There goes that man's jockstrap.
Oh my God, did you see that?
America's team? Yeah, right.
Oh, baby, it's a big day in sports. There's nothing like battling it out with your teammates all season long to go win a championship. Green Bay's got it this year. Huge move for them. I think it's going to be a game changer.
We have a lot to talk about this busy week in the sports world. Welcome to the In a League of Their Own podcast.
The In a League of Their Own podcast is brought to you by Golf Kicks. Do you struggle to find a set of golf shoes that have the perfect balance of comfort and style? Well, get out of stress and into Golf Kicks. Golf Kicks allows you to turn your favorite shoes into golf shoes with replaceable spikes you can screw into the bottom of your favorite kicks. Head over to golfkicks.com and at checkout use code OWN20, that's OWN20 for 20% off your order. Golf Kicks, screw your shoes. Hey man, how's it going?
Oh, it's another Monday following a Packer victory on Christmas. So, every week that the Packers win, Mondays are always nice.
Yeah, they are. Just overall this weekend, a lot of good games that happened. We'll dive into kind of some headlines with those here in a bit. Before we do, as always, people who are listening to us on our audio, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, thank you for tuning in. You're on YouTube, those who are watching and listening, we appreciate you as well. Make sure you guys are following, liking, subscribing, all that good stuff. If you're enjoying the content, we appreciate it as always. For all of our other content, you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, any breaking news, memes, all that good stuff. We're kind of just all over the place with content. Anything that is, fun to gaze upon, I guess. I don't know what word I was looking for there, but gaze upon was what I went with. But yeah, you can find those over there. You can find those in the description link below. In our audio episodes, as I mentioned, we're on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, anywhere associated with Anchor, you can find us. iHeartRadio as well. I gotta start remembering to throw that one out there. We are on iHeartRadio. And lastly, again, for those who've heard it a couple times now, we are doing a holiday raffle for a mystery box of your choosing. So it's kind of a mystery. You get to pick a NFL, NHL, or baseball. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. I was gonna say basketball, but I don't think basketball. There was one of the options that wasn't on there for the mystery box. But we're doing a raffle for that through the holiday season here. We have a handful of people signed up. So if you want to get involved with it, we'll be closing that as soon as we get to about that 10 entry mark. It's $10 for your first entry, $5 for your second, $5 for your third, with a total of 3 entries for $20. And as soon as we get to about that 10 entry mark, we're going to close it 2 days after that. And then we'll be picking a winner live on stream. And then once we get the box, we'll open it up, send it out to the winner. And we'll keep doing them in the future as well. So if you're interested, feel free to DM us on any of our socials or email us at inaleagueoftheirownpodcast.com at gmail.com. For more details. So
yeah, and the last little thing to throw that in there, since I didn't hear you say that, the memorabilia of the mystery box is worth at least $70.
Oh, yep, that's right.
So for your $20 entry, for the 3 entries, if you decide to go that route, you'll have 3 chances for $20 to win an item that's worth at least $70.
Mm-hmm.
So just wanted to throw that in there as well.
Yeah. And it's actually from our understanding, it's multiple items. It's a box to where it could be a signed card. It could be a signed baseball, an item. It's a couple things in this box. It's multiple things. But again, it's a mystery. So we won't know exactly what you're getting, but so it'd be kind of a mystery to all of us, but it'll be fun. So, but yeah, reach out if you're interested in joining that. Kicking things off with the NFL here today. Again, I'll start things off since I've been talking for the last 2 minutes. I'll let you get your vocal cords warmed up. For the Packers, again, they won on Christmas Day. Kind of came close down to the end. Does the Packers offense concern you, or do you think that LaFleur is just playing a little too conservative in some of these games to not show his hand too much?
I don't think it's our offense that I'm concerned with. I feel like it's our defense and special teams. I actually like how he's been calling the games when we've been getting a lead, going more to the ground. And that's just our line losing that battle on the line. I don't feel like it's coasting, almost hiding anything. I feel like they go into a game with a designed scheme, and depending how big they're up and how big they're not, I feel like Rodgers ultimately is the one that's like, hey, we're going to do this. So I like where our offense is at. Our defense, though, however, granted, 4 interceptions from Baker Mayfield, but if they just would have kept running the ball, like they could have easily taken over that game. That's the one thing that does concern me getting towards the end of the year here, where if we would face like a Philadelphia, a team that is just relentless and is going to 49ers, it's just going to pound it down your throat. Those are the teams that do concern me.
Yeah.
And special teams. Granted, last game we didn't really have a debacle, but that's been hit or miss, which at the end of the year here could cost you a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there are some definitely concerns on like the defensive side and like you said, special teams. But I mean, like ultimately the last game, the Packers had 21 of the 24 points off turnovers. So that's why to me it's like concerning for our offense, because in possessions that in all their possessions in that game that the offense didn't come off the field due to a turnover, they scored 3 points. So say Baker Mayfield doesn't throw 4 interceptions and they put up points on all those drives, Packers could have lost 3-40. You know what I mean? So like there's that like that. I guess that's where my concern is with the offense, to where again you get that extra energy, maybe a short field off a turnover, to where your offense is given like better like field position. But it seems like a lot of times when they're backed up, when they get to second and long, third and long, it's almost like, all right, like there's a lot of cases where like they started the game 3-0, like Browns go down, score in a minute and a half, 2 minutes, whatever it was. Packers, well, they got, I think it was a penalty on a first down and then a 3-and-out. So they ran like 4 or 5 plays on their first drive and then punted. So,
But then at the end of the game, you also look at the risky play that they went with Adams on the out, and he just dropped the ball.
Yeah.
And that would have been game over.
Yeah.
They would have had 8 less points.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean,
like just like the main thing I should say, like the defense is third down. 7 for 12 Browns went on third down. That's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they were 1 for 1 on fourth down as we were, but they held us to 3 and 10. So like I understand what you're saying. I feel like maybe they're getting a little too pass happy early in downs, where you have AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones that could pick you, get you ahead of the chains if you can at least get 3+ yards. I feel like they're like you said, as of late, just this last game, how they started, I feel like we're trying to come out of the gates early, taking the shot or making some crazy play, putting our foot all the way down on the gas early instead of letting the game kind of dictate how the game's going to go, whether you're going to run it more or pass it more. But we found a way to do it. Our defense has been getting the turnovers when we've needed them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's bailed us out. But if they're not going to be able to do that, and especially giving up over 200 yards on the ground and allowing that many third down conversions, you're going to lose, because you're not going to have the ball that many. We lost time of possession, and usually we smoke everybody at that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, really every level, like there's some concerns. Again, the offense, to where the 3-and-outs, the like dropped balls, which again, I think that was Adams' second drop this season in that game. I think the other one was earlier in the year. I think it was like kind of a similar situation on the third down, and like he should have caught it. Which again, that happens once in a while with those players. Like some of the top guys, you expect a lot out of them, that it's like mind-boggling when they drop one, but also it's like they're dropping one out of every 100 targets. So it's like in that situation, it hurt because, like you said, would have kind of put the game on ice, would have took points off the board for Cleveland. But yeah, coming on the stretch, all that matters is wins. Like no matter how ugly they look, how like stressful they are, like so long as they keep winning, that's the important part.
And yeah, I guess now that am thinking a little bit more about it after I actually pulled up the stats, I guess I could say their offense is a little bit concerning if they have to go over 50 yards, 40 yards, a short field from a turnover. Like, even though we did get the first turnover in the end zone, we went all the way down, marched all the way down the field, scored a touchdown. But like you said, it's those drives where we don't have a turnover that we're giving the ball right back, essentially. So it's like our defense is driving our team in momentum where they get to stop.
Yeah.
Our offense is carrying it down the field to score. But if that's not happening, it's like stagnant. So yeah, I would say it is a little bit concerning.
Like if they play a team that takes really good care of the football with either one turnover or zero turnovers, and we have the offense that came out on against Cleveland, they're not going to win. Like they're going to be an early exit in the playoffs. Because like I said, again, they only had 3 points not off of turnovers in that game, which is sad. That means like you said, like it helps that the defense is like giving a spark and like getting things going for the offense, but the offense needs to create its own momentum to where the offense goes down on an 80-90 yard drive, 7 8 9 minutes, punches it in. That gives spark to the defense, where right now it's one side where the defense is sparking the offense. But yeah, I mean, like there's some concern, but also LaFleur is one of the best offensive play callers in the league, in my opinion. So I'm not too concerned with kind of going down the stretch here. But again, they end the year with against the Vikings and the Lions. The Vikings who they lost to, the Lions who have handed a couple upsets, and this past week barely lost another one. So it's not going to be 2 easy games to finish out the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's getting really close for a lot of these teams here with these last 2 weeks remaining, bearing tonight's game. And then going over to my first question here, what team that is currently outside of the playoffs do you see potentially making the playoffs and going on a run? The teams currently outside are in the AFC. We have Chargers, Raiders, Steelers, Dolphins, Browns, Denver. In the NFC side, you have New Orleans, Minnesota, Atlanta, Washington.
Yeah, I mean, it's a team that has still one of the longest win streaks going yet, the Dolphins, on the outside looking in right now. Again, bearing tonight's game, given that they are outside the bubble and they're in the hunt, but they're still in the hunt, does a win put them in right now?
Yeah, if they win tonight, they lead Baltimore for the 7th spot.
Okay. Yeah, if the Dolphins can find a way to sneak in, I mean, a team that flipped the switch that fast to a 5-game, 6-game losing streak, and boom, all right, let's flip it around. Let's go on a 5-6 game win streak on the other side. Defenses looked good, holding teams to low points. They're getting turnovers. Tua's looking better and better kind of every week. Some of the receiving core, again, not household names, but they get the job done. They're a very under the radar team. And if the Dolphins go into the playoffs without losing a game, including tonight and the next 2 weeks, that's a scary team to play on the AFC side. I don't care if you're the Chiefs. I don't care if you're the Patriots, who you are. A team that's that hot with that kind of swagger, and they beat good teams too. Like they don't have a super easy schedule over the last 7-8 weeks where they've been winning games. A couple of them have been easier games, but some of them are teams who, again, are relevant. So yeah, I would say that the Dolphins are that team that I'd be terrified to play on the AFC side if they make it through. Because again, tonight, if they win, they're in at 7. If they lose, they're probably if they win, the playoff chances are probably like 70%. If they lose, they're probably like 5, just because of, again, the tiebreakers and just how the cards lie right now. And still, they have to finish the year with the Patriots, which Could be another loss.
You talking for the Dolphins? If
Yeah.
they lose, that they'd be done?
Well, they wouldn't be done, but I'm just saying, like, they'd
put themselves into Cleveland Browns the same. Put themselves in the same position at 7-8. Baltimore, Chargers, and Vegas are all 8-7, which if they win tonight being 8-7, they would leapfrog all three of those teams due to division and conference record. So,
all right. Yeah, I mean, like I said, either they're going to jump up and they're in, or they're going to, like, again, they have a tall, because if they lose their next or they lose tonight and then they lose against the Patriots, they have to bank on a lot of other teams losing to get in, I think. Like, obviously there's probably a chance, but again, it's probably going to be like this 1-2% chance where if they lose tonight to New Orleans and then finish the year with a loss to New England, what does the road look like for the Dolphins? But again, it makes you think back on that shit streak they had earlier in the year where they're like, if we could have stopped that skid 1 game, 2 games sooner, they'd now be like in the playoffs by a comfortable margin. So,
right.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting. But yeah, all the other teams on the outside, again, Cleveland, Baker Mayfield's not going to make you a deep playoff run. After watching Washington get piss pounded last night, their defense isn't good enough to win them games, or even stop the Cowboys from scoring 56. Like, New Orleans, again, since Jameis went out, that team hasn't really looked the same. Their defense is carrying them, but again, how long until their defense has a bad game to where you see a 56-14 finish? Yeah, all these other teams on the outside looking in, they obviously have chances, but I don't think even if they make it, they'd be a first round exit just because of how they're playing right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'd say the same thing, just because on the NFC side, I don't see either team that's currently outside making it, with both the Niners and both Philadelphia with 2 easy teams, Washington and Houston this weekend. That puts them to 9-7. It's not possible for the Vikings in Atlanta and Washington would all be eliminated at that point. And Saints hopes go out the window if they lose tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So if they win, then yeah, they're the only team that's going to keep their name in that juggle with San Fran and Philly.
Yeah.
Actually, San Francisco would drop out if New Orleans wins, based on division record and conference.
Oh,
because they're 1-4 in the division.
San Francisco
6-5
is?
in the San Fran's 1-4.
That's
They
rough.
beat the Rams. Or no, excuse me, they beat the Niners or Cardinals when they were banged up. No shit, they did beat the Rams because they play them again at the end.
Yeah, it was that Sunday night game, like 38-10 or whatever, like a lopsided win that they had.
Yeah, so basically, Saints are in control of their destiny, but I do have faith in the Miami Dolphins to get it done. I think they're going to leap them. I don't even know who they play this next game. Oh, Tennessee. So the only way that they could be in trouble is if Derrick Henry's back for this next weekend.
Yeah.
Because there's been talks that he's been getting close.
Yeah, I know that at first they were saying, oh, first round of the playoffs, but now it's looking like the final week of the season, maybe next week. Like, obviously, you don't want him to come back too soon, but also with, again, playoff implications, still in the hunt for that 1 seed. Like, you want to be as healthy as possible to try to win these games.
Yeah, definitely have a chance of that 1 seed, especially with Kansas City heading to Cincy this weekend.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. I guess this was going to be my third question, but I'll bump it up just because you said Cincinnati. After dominant wins yesterday by the Cowboys, it was a 56-14, Bengals 41-21. Probably the two most dominant wins yesterday. Which team would you be more scared to face come playoff time?
Probably Cincinnati. Just because Jamar Chase is unlike any wide receiver that Kansas City has. Joe Burrow can air it out with the best of them, like we saw this weekend, tossing over 500. Their defense can stand up with the Kansas City defense. Like this weekend will be a great deterrent of which team is going to be that scary team to face. Even though Buffalo is starting to look like they turned the gas on too. Colts too. There's like 4 teams in that division right now that are all 5 with Derrick Henry that you could all say all could easily make it to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I say Cincinnati.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, as much as again, Cowboys pretty much like they lock up the East. I think they locked up the East last night, didn't they?
Yeah, before the game even started.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I mean, they lock up the East. They have the second best record right now in the NFC. Kind of keeping the pressure on Green Bay to where Green Bay can't slip up a game. Otherwise, I think the Cowboys would have the tiebreaker for conference record or division record because I think the Cowboys are perfect in the division and the Packers have 1 loss, the Vikings. So the Cowboys would have a better division record or whatever.
And conference.
So yeah, in both.
But that could all change this weekend too. They play Arizona.
Yeah. And for Green Bay too, against the Vikings, 1 more conference win and 1 more division win.
But yeah, we would still be behind them because Dallas, like you said, is perfect in the division and they're 9-1 in the conference.
Yeah.
But they do have to finish with Philadelphia, which is 1 more division and conference game as well.
Yeah.
And that's a team I don't want to play right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It's like, again, Cincinnati, as good as the Cowboys looked last night, again, take it with a grain of salt. It's the NFC East. It's the Washington football team. Their defense was only going to keep them in games for so long before they get gassed or get exposed because the offense isn't doing it for them. And last night showed that 14 points of offense, and they give up 56 points. Really just terrible on both sides of the ball. Yeah, I agree with Cincinnati. Their defense, again, has a lot of young guys who are kind of under the radar, but like play like all pros. And again, that Chase Burrow connection. I think this year, first time ever in NFL history that a team had a 4,000-yard passer, 1,000-yard rusher, and 2 1,000-yard receivers. And Boyd and Chase both have 1,000 yards. Mixon has 1,000, and then Burrow has 4,000. So all very young guys. So the future is looking very bright in Cincinnati. And yeah, that's a team come playoff time. Like you said, you said a handful of times where they practice outside, they don't have an indoor facility, all that. If you're able to keep winning games, that just shows grit. That shows all these teams that are playing in warm weather or inside of a dome, and you're stuck playing outside 7 days a week, either on game day or on the practice field. Like you're just setting yourself up come for January football. That is the most important football to be played. You have that advantage of, oh, weather doesn't bother us. We practice in this every day. Kind of like New England. They have indoor facilities. Belichick makes them practice outside in blizzards just because, hey, we got to be prepared for this kind of stuff. So again, it's all about, I mean, there's 2 sides to the coin. It could hurt them because guys can't get rested, like can't have easy days inside, but also at the same time, it just adds to that grit factor.
Yeah. Like I said, I've Cincinnati, that team's, they're showing that they're tough.
Mm-hmm.
Then on to my last question here for you. Sticking in the AFC here, the Chiefs dominating win over the Steelers Do you think that they make a return to the Super Bowl for their third consecutive year in a row? And do you see them being the best team in the AFC right now?
I'm gonna say no to both. Despite having the best record, they're the 1 seed. Like everything is going in their favor. Just because you're the 1 seed with the best record doesn't mean you're the best team in football right now. Again, two teams that I think could hand the Chiefs a loss in the playoffs: New England, Indy. Two teams that have great defenses when healthy, or not even when healthy. Look at the Colts this last week. They're out Darius Leonard and their starting safety. They're out 3/5 of their offensive line. They're out so many guys. They go into Arizona and get a huge road win. And Jonathan Taylor again has another great game on the ground. I think, or no, did he struggle in that game? I can't remember. I remember seeing something about,
This past weekend?
yeah. Okay,
He
he
had
had
a 108.
108. Okay, so it was again a good game for him. For some reason, I remember like I think at halftime he was like under 50 yards, so it was like he had a slow start, but yeah, he ends up with another 100-yard rushing game. I mean, if the Chiefs lock up the 1 seed, yes, like the road to the Super Bowl runs through Kansas City, at least for the first round, so long as they don't get eliminated. Um, but yeah, I think the Patriots or the Colts are going to be representing the AFC in the Super Bowl this year. And so long, and the Titans too, you could add to that conversation. If Derrick Henry comes back fully healthy, again, everybody's like, "Oh, he's going to be back. He's going to be back." Okay, but is he going to be 100%? Is he going to be 90%, 80%? What is he going to look like? Is he going to have the speed to break away from these guys? Is he going to be a little slower? Who knows what he's going to come back or how he's going to come back, especially this late in the year where you've been out for that long, to just step back into like playoff field football and like be productive at a high level. I think it's hard to do, but yeah, I don't know. Like I was shitting on the Chiefs for the longest time this year, and then they obviously proved me wrong by going out and going on a big streak and getting to the top of the AFC. But I still don't think they're the best team on that side.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to be one of the four teams, the two that you've included already, the Patriots and Colts. But I feel like it's going to be the two teams that are going to meet on that collision course. It's going to be the winner of the Pats, Bengals, Colts, Bills, if everything shakes out the way that it is currently. I feel like the winners of those two games are going to carry on something and go on a run.
Yeah, I mean, again, on that side, I mean, really, on
Patriots
both.
look like they hit a wall. Mac Jones, we talked about it off the air, through text or whatever. I think they finally found an exposure of the Patriots to where they still ran over 150 yards, which great. They kept that. But if you have to outduel a quarterback, Mac Jones is not the guy that can gunsling it. So Joey Burrow, in that case, I feel like would end up winning that game against the Patriots just because of that's the one reason that I'd put the Patriots in the fourth spot of those teams. I would say Bills, Colts, and Bengals are all 1-1-1, and the Patriots are in that second slot just because of that reason. Mac Jones, so high on his accuracy. His accuracy is a pinpoint passer.
Mhm.
He struggled. So, who knows if that's the Bills, exposing him or figuring that out. But I feel like they're another team that, like I said, this is going to be a great fucking playoffs rest of the year because all these games are going to be really close.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, and I have one more question. Again, took one from hockey today. I'm adding it to NFL because, again, hockey's on break, so not a whole lot to talk about over there. This one, kind of a fun one. Again, just curious to where your mind would be for this one. What former NFL quarterback, I guess I'll add in their prime, do you think you could plug in today's NFL that would be top 5 in the league?
Michael Vick. He sits in my list of top 5 quarterbacks of all time. And I think that he could easily step back into today's era in his prime, especially. And he was Lamar before Lamar. Like, he was that guy. So definitely him.
Yeah, and that's like, I agree with you.
Could say Warren Moon too, because he did the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just thinking of like mobile, because just the smaller kind of has an arm, has has legs quarterback. And yeah, that was like, that's the only one I could think of. Like, I don't know, because like a lot back in the day, a lot of them were like taller, thicker body, just stand in the pocket gunslingers, and like you don't really you can't do that anymore, really.
Well, all the
You
good
have to
ones
have,
had Hall of Fame wide receivers too.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Like, that's the one thing, the why I say Michael Vick is because he consistently was good, and he didn't have superstar wide receivers every single year. Like, he had T.O. He's not even in the Hall of Fame yet. Like, I'd say that was his probably best receiver that he ever threw to was
yeah,
Terrell Owens. And like, some of the other guys had Jerry, like some of the greatest to ever fucking play. That's why I said Michael Vick, is because you take that all away, you could throw him on an average team, and he could still be in the top 5 of a quarterback.
yeah. Yeah, I mean the dude is unreal. Literally up until the day that he left the league, there was obviously somewhat of a decline, but not enough to where it's like, all right, this dude needs to retire, get him out of here. Like, I mean, if the dude's still in shape, like if you got a phone call, I could see him coming back and be like, this man still got it. Like, I mean, obviously he's getting old, like he's an analyst, and like I don't think he is ever thinking about coming back. Obviously, with the right circumstances, who knows? But yeah, he'd be an interesting guy to see. All right, I'm back, and see what he's still got.
Yep, those are one of my favorite commercials, the Michael Vick Experience. Do you remember that commercial?
Oh, where isn't it like a bunch of like dummies?
Everybody's waiting in line, like they're waiting in line to ride a roller coaster, and you stand over the thing. It drops the shoulder pads and the jersey, and the 7 drops the helmet on. You step into the cleats, and then you literally were like Michael Vick, and it was all these crazy things. It was like in a theme park ride, and they called it the Michael Vick Experience, and it was like one of the greatest commercials ever.
Yeah. Yeah, I forget about that one. Like, I remember watching that commercial and be like, okay, they need to make this a real thing. That looks dope. Yeah, sounds good. We'll move over to the hardwood then. What's your first question over there?
Do you think the Lakers dropped their 6th straight facing one of the league's worst Houston Rockets tomorrow night? Since they've already lost to him once already this year.
Yeah, I think that they finally turn things around, like at least for a short amount of time. Whether it's against the Rockets, where they break their streak and then they start a new one. I don't know, because the Rockets are out some key guys. Still, I don't know. Every time I talk good about the Lakers, they play like shit, and every time I talk bad about them, they play well. So like, I'm gonna continue my slander, say that they're gonna play like shit, or they're gonna play well, but they're gonna play like shit.
Yeah, I think they lose tomorrow night. Just like one of your questions that you're going to be bringing up here, just with what that man's been able to do. He's leading the league in scoring by, I think, like 52 points out of everybody in the last 8 games. He's number 1 scorer in the league at his age and doing what he's doing. And it's like they still can't fucking win. It's just like their season is hopeless. And then watching Russ 4 for 20, like really 4 for 20, I can go 4 for 20.
Yeah.
Like just by luck, you can go 4 for 20.
Yeah.
Like terrible.
Yeah. I don't know. Like my heart, literally, like I think that the Lakers are like one of like they're 16-16, but they look like one of the worst teams in the league right now.
They're 16-18.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because they lost now that they lost 5 in a row. Yeah, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they've played 2 more games than the Mavericks, the Timberwolves, the Spurs. Like they could be down to 12th, 11th place. Once these teams finally catch up games.
It's crazy again in the Pacific how Golden State and Phoenix, they're like Lakers are 11 and a half games back.
And the Jazz too. You got to keep them in there.
And we're not even, well, I'm just talking about the Pacific, just in that one division.
Oh.
Like Golden State has a half game lead over Phoenix. And then the Clippers are 10 games back. Lakers are 11 and a half. And Kings are 14 and a half games back. So it's funny how lopsided that is. But again, Clippers are barely like their differential, their plus minus is plus 0.7. Lakers have a minus differential. Clippers have a minus differential. And I think Golden State and Phoenix have the 2 best differentials in the league, if I remember correctly. Oh, Golden State has a plus 10.4, Utah 10.3, and then Phoenix at 7.3. So, which just means they're good on both sides of the ball. They can score and they got good defense.
And the Clippers are doing all this without Kawhi.
Mm-hmm. And George has been out now and then too. Yeah. Yeah, but again, divisions mean nothing in basketball. You can win your division and still not make the playoffs. So I don't even know why they like what's the point of it? But yeah, kind of sticking with the Lakers for my first question here again. You're talking about how good LeBron's been playing, kind of some stats to throw out there. In their 5-game losing streak, 31.6 point per game, 9.8 rebounds, 5.2 assists. Just phenomenal basketball. Do we eventually see an internal collapse of the Lakers once LeBron hits his cold streak to where, like you said, the Lakers either barely make the play in or don't make the playoffs at all? Or do you think like LeBron is going to keep this up for the rest of the year to keep his team relevant?
Well, dude, he's averaging 29.9, 7.8, and 7 on the year. It's just like who would have, if you would have bet me $1 million that LeBron would have averaged that during this year, I would have taken you on that. Like no way. He's playing like in something we've never seen before out of a guy this old, who's got this many minutes and miles on him. Like it's incredible what he's doing. I don't see him having a collapse. Like I feel he finishes out the season playing how he's playing and hoping that when AD gets back that he's a different person when he returns. And I still feel like they're going to try to find to get Russell Westbrook out of their team. As Skip Bayless says, he wears number 0 for 0 rings, and he'll never win one as long as he keeps wearing 0. Like, out of all the championship teams last year who could have gotten Russ, only one team wanted him, and it was the Lakers. And look at how bad it has turned that team into. So I feel like they're regretting that decision. LeBron, especially, since he probably was the one to be like, if anybody can make this work, I can make this work. But clearly seeing that it's not working. So if they're stuck with him all year long and AD comes back and he looks like how he did early in the year, this team misses the playoffs and the play-in.
Yeah, I think so as well. I don't think LeBron's longevity is there anymore. I mean, that's shown the past couple of years to where he sits out a lot more for rest. He's been out with injuries. He hasn't played close to a full season in probably at least 3 years now. And again, it shows that he's putting up these points and they're on a 5-game losing streak. What happens when he goes cold or like somebody else doesn't step up? I don't know. Like I don't see a total collapse out of LeBron. I think he still leads the team in points, like rebounds, like everything that he's doing right now. But eventually he's gonna go down a little bit. He can't keep this up the whole season. At least I don't think. Like again, if somebody like made a bet, oh, he's gonna continue these numbers for the rest of the season, I'd be like, no way. But again,
he's played one full season in all of his seasons. And that was in 17-18 when they won the title with Cleveland.
That's crazy.
But yeah, dude, it's nuts what he's doing. Like field goal percentage, numbers, minutes played. We're seeing LeBron that we saw 2017, 2018. As far as minutes played, field goal attempts are up, shooting percentage is up. Like
the only part of his game is his turnovers. That's been a lot lately. Like him and Westbrook are averaging like 8.5 turnovers a game between the two of them.
so far, he's averaging 3.5 turnovers, which is a low since 2013, 2014. Otherwise, it's been over that. 3.9, 4.1, 4.2, 3.6, 3.9, 3.7, 3.7. She's currently under.
But still, between him and Westbrook.
Well, Westbrook's just got awful at turning the ball over.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like between them two, they're averaging.
But if they can keep the ball out of Westbrook's hands and keep THT as their guy to carry the load when LeBron's out, he was putting up 20, 30 points a night almost. And now Russell's like trying to like take over. I don't know. I just don't get it.
You see, I feel like he'd definitely be more better utilized off the bench to where switch Westbrook and Rajon Rondo, have Rajon run the point now.
Yeah, but the thing is that neither one of them play defense, dude. And so you can't do that.
Nobody does in the NBA anymore, though.
Well, see, I beg to differ. The teams who are really good play defense.
Well, yeah, 3 of them. 3 out of
There's like 5 teams in the league that play defense.
Yeah, so there's way more teams that don't. And the Lakers again are a team.
That's why it's the same 5 teams that fucking get to the finals every year. Because it's the same reason.
Like the Lakers are the fastest paced team this year, partially due to turnovers and partially due to the fact that they don't play good defense, to where they're like, okay, we got to make our possessions fast because we need to try to it's a shootout. They're trying to score as many points as possible, hoping that they can hit a run that's bigger than the other team a couple times in the game. But which, I mean, sometimes works out being the fastest paced team, sometimes it doesn't, because there's teams at the top that, like, the Lakers are the fastest paced team, but then at the bottom, like, I want to say like the Nets, 76ers are some of the slowest paced teams, and they have a lot more success than the Lakers. So again, Nets and 76ers are slower paced teams because they play defense. Like the better defensive teams are usually slower paced because they can slow down teams, dictate the ball a lot better. But yeah, I don't know. This Lakers team is just all over the place. And like I said, a handful of times this year, I've kind of stood in their corner. They just shit the bed like tenfold. So I'm going to keep saying that the Lakers are going to play good so that they keep shitting the bed.
All right, then on to my last question here for you for the NBA. What team do you think puts up the most points tonight across all the games in the league? Rockets, Hornets, Bulls, Hawks, Celtics, Timberwolves, Jazz, Spurs, Grizzlies, Suns, Mavs, Trailblazers, and Nets, Clippers.
I'm going to say Trailblazers at home. Despite being a 1-point underdog at home, a home dog in that game. The rest of these games, I mean, maybe the Nets, but the Clippers have like somewhat okay defense. Jazz, again, one of the best teams in the West, playing the Spurs. Spurs are a sub 500 team, but the Spurs have played spoiler a lot this year, and they played good defense. Celtics, Timberwolves. I feel like that's going to be a low scoring game. Bulls, Hawks, an Eastern Conference matchup again. Ooh, actually, maybe Charlotte. Yeah, I'm changing my answer. I'm going Charlotte because I think Charlotte is still. They have like one of the best offenses, but the worst defenses in the league. Like their differential is like,
Hence, they went from 3rd place to 8th place in
yeah,
the past couple weeks.
yeah. Charlotte, 114.9 points per game, second best in the league, a minus 1.9 differential. They give up 116 points a game.
Who's number 1 for points?
Utah at 116.
And that's who I was going to take. That's who I think is going to score the most tonight. Jazz. They play the best defense, arguably, and their offense is unreal. Jazz fucking steamroll Spurs tonight. Unless Patty Mills can shoot the lights out.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Hornets. Second best scoring offense against Houston, who has the third worst scoring defense. But that could be it could be like 123 to 120. Like that's because again, Charlotte plays terrible defense as well.
Yeah, and like I said, it's just who scores the most points.
Yeah.
They don't have to win. Well, they would win.
Yeah, they have to, because then the other team would have the most points.
Yeah, sounds good.
So would you say Utah?
I said Jazz, yeah.
Sounds good. My last NBA question here for you. Despite dropping 3 of the last 4 games, the Grizzlies are quietly having a good season, sitting at 20-14 and 4th in the West. Mind you, for the last they've had him back for 2 games now, but there's a stretch that they were without John Morant, and I think they went on a 4 or 5 game win streak without him. Do you think this team could potentially be a dark horse come playoff time and make a run in the West?
No. They ain't getting top 3 are the top 3 for a reason. And they're going to stay the top 3. Just personally, how it goes, like literally just how it Suns are the best overall team. Jazz pride their defense. Warriors pride their offense. Suns are like the most balanced. So it's going to come down to just which unit, or if the Suns can just keep you at bay from not letting your one side just completely dominate. Whichever one of those 3 side or power strength takes over, that's going to be the team that's going to come out of the West. Grizzlies, I feel like they're a couple pieces yet away. I feel like Ja still needs a little bit more experience, get better, a little bit better at shooting. Could use a couple more pieces on that team to help him out. But they're getting there. They're definitely coming along ever since they've added him to the team.
Yeah.
Like they used to be one of the bottom feeding teams in the league. And now that they're, they've turned their team around a little bit. I still feel like as far as making a deep run, they could be a handful of years out yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I think the only way that they make it is if they Golden State and Phoenix end up playing each other somehow on one side of the bracket, and the Grizzlies don't end up playing either of them, to where it could end up being like Warriors and Grizzlies in the Western Conference Finals, or Warriors or Suns Grizzlies in the Western Conference Finals. But the way it looks right now,
so you think they could beat the Jazz in a 7-game series?
I mean, in a 7-game a 7-game series, a lot can happen. It always comes down to, like, right now, I say no. Like right now, the Jazz are a better team, but just the way the Grizzlies are trending, like if they can kind of, again, if Ja can get help, stay healthy, if they just kind of stay under the radar in the West. I mean, if they get hot at the right time, like they're starting to heat up a little bit, but if they can go red hot before playoff time, like especially in the 7-game series. Like if I put money on the Jazz and Grizzlies head to head one game, Jazz, but in a 7-game series, I don't think the Jazz would sweep them at least.
See, I feel like the complete opposite about the Grizzlies. They're more of an up and down team. They're not a consistent team. Yeah, I feel like even if you're hot, I feel like the one sport that doesn't matter in is basketball. Just because everybody can have one shit night. All of those guys can shoot the lights out. It's whether or not their shots are going in or not. So I feel like it doesn't really matter which team's hot or not, because you could just be off that night, or your number one guy's off that night, so I just don't. I mean, I can see what you said. I could see them winning maybe 2 in a 7-game series, but I can't see them beating either one of those top 3 teams in a 7-game series.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as it stands right now, I agree with you. I just think, again,
but what do you think should change on their team?
I mean, for one, getting Morant to stay healthy. If they're able to go on a 4 or 5-game win streak without him, think what they could do with him. They keep him healthy for one. The other thing being, what's his name? Desmond Bane. Since while Ja was out, Bane stepped up. If he can continue to, obviously he's going to get less touches with Morant back, but if he can kind of keep that similar role of, kind of the pressure that he put on his shoulders and delivered in the time without Morant, if he can keep delivering, I'm pulling up their roster here, see who else. I mean, they share the ball well. They have 5 guys, averaging double-digit points, which is always good to have at least 5. Because looking at the teams like the Clippers, to where I think Paul George and Reggie Jackson, maybe one other guy, are averaging double-digit points, to where you need to lean on 2 or 3 guys every single game to win you ball games. But you look at teams like the Warriors, the Suns, some of these top teams in the NBA, they probably have 5, 6, 7, 8 guys that are all averaging double-digit points because they all share the ball really well. But yeah, I mean, like I said, they were able to win game. I mean, tonight's gonna be a good. The Grizzlies play the Suns. If they can keep it close or steal a win in Phoenix, that's huge for them. Or at least keep it close, keep it within 2 or 3 possessions. I consider that a win for the Grizzlies, honestly. But again, we'll see tonight how they face the Suns.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. I was about to read another question, but it's the same one I just read. For some reason I was thinking I had another one, but I'll switch over to hockey then. What do you got over there?
So currently, as the NHL is on their break, but one of the most interesting hockey tournaments of the year is going on right now, the World Juniors. That is taking place over in Sweden, I believe. What team do you think is going to take home World Juniors this year? The U.S. ended up winning it last year.
I think it's going to be Team Canada this year. Kind of digging into some of the players, again, goaltending. I mean, two of the best forwards right now: Owen Power, Cole Perfetti, 2 of the best forwards right now on that Canadian team, or just in all of juniors, overall. Again, 2 of the top. Where did Perfetti end up getting drafted to? I couldn't remember. Or did he not get drafted yet?
No idea, honestly. I don't.
Well, Power went 1. He went to Buffalo, right? did Buffalo have the first pick?
Yeah, that's where Owen Power went.
Yeah.
Here, let me look. What's his name?
Cole Perfetti. PR like confetti, but
He's property of the. He plays in the AHL.
Oh, okay.
He's one of the only few. He's one of two other guys that play in the AHL on that team. So he's got one of the most professional experience out of all the kids.
Yeah, I think Team Canada's got it this year. I mean, obviously, like US has one of the better goaltenders in Camesso, but I mean, I guess if he stands on his head and stops every puck that comes at him, but I mean, I could see it being a US Canada final, but I think Canada has the edge this year.
Okay. I'm going to disagree with you. I don't think Canada wins it. I think Sweden is going to win it on their home ice. Obviously, it's going to be interesting as it continues to go on because we're just in the prelims right now. Canada's 1-0, Finland's 1-0, Sweden's 1-0, and US is 1-0. Those are the four teams that are currently undefeated. Austria is yet to play, and Switzerland is yet to play. So, just kidding. Finland and Austria are playing right now. Finland's up 4-1. So Austria's going to the bottom of that division. And then other games, obviously, I wish we had TSN here in the US, Toronto Sportsnet, but we don't. So, yeah. I mean, Canada's always good. Same with the United States. Always good. But Sweden's been coming along years past. I feel like they have a lot of young kids. But yes, like you said, Canada should win. Like they should win. Odds favorites with the roster that they have and the people that they have. Yeah, they should win. But I can see Sweden maybe stealing this one or the US.
Sounds good. Yeah, and I just have one hockey question for you today. If the season ended today, the division winners would be Tampa, Carolina, Minnesota, and Vegas. Which of these four teams do you think would make the earliest exit in this year's playoffs?
It'd be Minnesota. They're the weakest team out of those four. Just on the offensive side, scoring goals. They do probably have the best defense, but they don't have the best goalie, which is Tampa's goalie. Carolina just is a very tough team. Vegas with Eichel, not without him, with them healthy, all these teams healthy, wild. But if it were as it stands with the teams currently as they are, Vegas, I would say. Without Eichel, they're the first team gone.
Yeah, I'm going to say Vegas. I think Minnesota has enough to at least get out of the first round this year. I mean, Vegas has a lot riding on Jack Eichel and some of these other guys coming back healthy. Obviously, best case scenario, they do, and they become one of the best teams in hockey in a very fast amount of time. But like we were talking about last week, this weekish break, Minnesota kind of went on a little bit of a skid. I think they come out the other side and they get back to how they looked in the first month or so and put together a couple of really good weeks of hockey and kind of get back to wild hockey. So yeah, I'm gonna say Vegas just because again, like they're riding so much on Eichel coming in and being such a good like big producer. And I mean, I could see it potentially happening, but again, to put that much weight on, we waiting on one, two guys to come back. If they don't come back and produce at the level that they're expected to, then I could see Vegas. being first. How they see, like you said, Tampa having basically the best goalie right now. Carolina playing phenomenal again, and they were preseason one of my predictions for making it all the way against Colorado. And like I said, Minnesota, I think they turn things around.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Then my last hockey question for you here. Currently almost at the midway point, a little bit past midway in the college hockey season. Who do you think wins the Frozen Four this year? And do you think it will be the powerhouse Michigan that was expected at the beginning of the year?
I do, honestly, because
They're currently third.
Yeah, I'm looking at the rankings right now. Minnesota State, Quinnipiac are 2. And then obviously some expected names to be up there: North Dakota, Duluth, St. Cloud, Notre Dame rounding out the top 10, Minnesota just outside the top 10. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, Michigan having Owen Power, because he went back they got basically the whole team back for one more year, didn't they?
Well, they not really, but they do have 6 first-round draft picks on that team.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the cards are falling right for Michigan to get it done this year. I mean, they're not number 1, so I mean, there's 2 teams statistically better than them right now, but I mean, they're right there. So I don't know. I was kind of looking at Notre Dame too, because I saw something about them kind of being on the like one of the dark horse, like playing really good hockey this year, but nobody's really talking about them. But they've lost.
They dropped from 8 to 10 over this
Yeah,
last week.
yeah, and they've lost like 2 of their last 5, and all 3 times they played Minnesota, they've lost. I can't remember who else. There's another team that was ranked that they lost to. So like Notre Dame is can't beat higher, like really high ranked teams. So yeah, I'd say Michigan then. Again, just having the guys that they have back this year and how they're playing, I think that they get it done this year.
I think they choke. I don't think they get it done.
Who do you think beats them?
North Dakota. Potentially, I could see North Dakota winning, or I could see Mankato, Minnesota State. Watching them play, unbelievable to see what they're doing. And it's pretty cool. Number 1 team ranked right now. Hopefully they'll still be sitting at number 1 when we have our next interviewee on, because that's his alma mater.
Oh, that's where Casey went?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Nice. Cool. Jumping over into our other category then. My question for you, again, rounding out the year here, only a couple days left, 2022 just around the corner, meaning a whole new year of sports. Give me, again, this is vague. You can take it any direction you want. Give me a sports prediction for next year, player or team, whether it's this team is going to win like a championship, this player is going to lead in scoring, this team is going to, they had a good year this year, they're going to be shit next year. They had a shit year this year, they're going to be good next year. Just give me a prediction in the year 2022, something you are predicting to happen.
I'm going to say Brooks Koepka wins the PGA championship. Pulling for my boy Brooksy. I think that he's going to win it all. Him or John Rahm. I'm going to say 1-2.
All right. I think, again, very out of left field, and like the way he's been talking, and I'm sticking with golf as well for this. How the way he's been talking and kind of like how he's been, like his recovery. I think Tiger Woods makes an appearance in a PGA event, but doesn't make a cut, like doesn't make the first cut. Despite saying that he doesn't think he'll like ever play professionally again, I think that he gets confidence. The cards fall right for him to appear in an event, but he just isn't the same, and he doesn't make the cut.
All right.
Again, kind of a sad prediction, but
I just don't think that's possible.
For him to come back at all.
Obviously it's possible, but I just feel like where his kid's at, how good his kid is at golf, he's going to be working on getting his kid there. His kid almost plays better golf than he does.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he said at his age, he's bigger, he's stronger, he has a faster club speed, ball speed. He hits it farther.
He's the next Woods.
Yep.
And like, how cool of that would that be for the game of golf for him to break all dad's records?
Yeah, no kidding. Especially if he can get either at, if not younger than Tiger started out. Because what's the earliest you can? Is it 16?
I don't know, dude. There was a 14-year-old that played the LPGA this year, so I don't. Once you get your card, dude, it's if you're that good, there's no age limit.
It's more
like there's only of out to the senior tour. There's only that limit of age, I believe. But if you're meet the handicap and you can go through all that stuff and qualify and do all that, there's no reason why you can't be a pro.
Yeah, I feel like at a young age, it just comes down to strength. You have to be able to keep up with these guys who are crushing it 350, 400 yards.
So probably till you're about like, I don't know, maybe 12 through 16, you probably could.
Yeah.
Depending how big you are and how you know how to whack the ball. But
yeah.
But yeah. All right. My other question for you here, sticking with the game of golf. If you could add or change one rule, what would you change?
See, I think this would be really fun. It'd be entertaining to see this. Obviously within limits, no out of bounds. There's no stroke for out of bounds. If you can play the ball where it lies, no matter where, because usually if it's like crazy out of bounds, you're more often than not, you don't have an advantage because you're like way like you're too far off, or you're in the water. So even like water, instead of taking a water penalty, you can play it as it lies, so long as like you can get at the ball. Like there's no out of bounds. Like, and so instead of taking a water penalty, obviously if your ball's in the middle of a pond, you're not going to go swimming out there and try to hit it. But if you're like in less than 6 inches of water and like you have a chance to play it, where in some cases you have to take a water penalty, or again out of bounds penalty, erase that. If they wanted to play the ball, if they want to take the stroke and move it to nearest point of entering water or nearest point of entering out of bounds, go for it. But if you want to play the ball where it is and take that chance, go for it.
One rule that I would change. One hole each event, every sanctioned, legit competitive event, for one hole of every event, you have to hit an opposite-handed drive on one hole.
Like, and you can, so you said it's
part of three, doesn't matter.
It's one specific hole that everybody, or you can pick which hole you want.
I feel like it would be one designated hole where they would just have a left-handed driver and a right-handed driver, or a 9-iron, whatever the case may be. One hole every single time. All right, you're up, bud.
That'd be so hard.
Just the drive.
That'd be
A
nuts.
lot of those guys golf both hands anyway, so I don't really think it would fuck with those guys too much. But for like the average person, yeah, that would fuck everyone up hard.
Yeah, I know there's been a couple of times because you golf left-handed, I golf right-handed. So where there's been once or twice I grabbed your club and I'm just like, I'm gonna hit this thing like 5 feet, and like it goes farther than that, but it's like if you're like, okay, which way is it gonna go? I have no fucking clue. But yeah, that'd be an interesting rule. It definitely like, all right, let's go to this, like, check it in this hole. This guy's about to hit it because somebody's gonna hit an amazing shot.
And someone's gonna hit a terrible shot.
Yeah. Where if it like a guy who has a big lead hits a terrible shot, a guy who's behind has a good shot, it like evens the playing field more by doing that.
And it would be even because everybody's got to do it on the same exact hole.
Yeah.
So it really would just be like, who is the best golfer to be able to just do it? Because I know like Brooks, for example, I follow him on Instagram. There's videos that he's posted of bang, bang. Like one side of the ball, crushed it right down the other side, crushed it in the same exact spot. And it's just like, I bet all those guys hand eyes like that. Like their swinging motion is the same.
Yeah.
You can do it on both sides.
Well, just because
probably have to practice that.
Depending on where your ball lies, sometimes you have to hit it the opposite way because you don't have it. Otherwise, you're standing like down a slope or you're standing in water to where they'll flip their club around and hit it the opposite way.
I've chipped one in off the green like that, having to hit it right. You flip the club around, peg it off the toe, opposite hand, and just hope it goes good.
Yeah.
Actually, that was when we went with your dad and CJ.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's all I got.
Sounds good then. Wrapping up here, our college football talk. Again, predicting bowl games every episode kind of for the next couple days here. Due to the holiday, not doing a Friday episode, we missed one game. I mean, not a very big game to miss. It was Christmas Day, Georgia State, Ball State. Georgia State won 51-20. But we have a handful of games to go through.
Well, two more bowl games also just canceled as well.
Yeah, SMU, Virginia, and what was the other one?
Boston College, East Carolina, and Miami and Washington State.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 more games, excuse me.
And Christmas Eve, Memphis, Hawaii Bowl. That got canceled as well.
And they're saying the Sun Bowl, which is the Miami and Washington. It's scheduled to be played on Friday, but they've already had a handful of people already test, so they're saying that game is probably going to be canceled as well.
Damn, that's too bad.
Yeah, let's just hope that we can get to the college football playoff.
No kidding. But yeah, if you want to pull up the list, we got
I'm
5.
I'm pulling up the updated bowl game list because they just released a brand new one.
Because we can do. Are we going to do any of the Wednesday games? Because for sure, Maryland, Virginia Tech will probably be almost done by the time like we finish the episode. So we could do all 5 Tuesday games and 1 Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll do it that way.
And then Wednesday we can do Clemson, Ohio, Iowa State, Oregon, Oklahoma, and then all the Thursday games. So
Sounds good.
Six games then.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and pull up the coin here,
yeah,
I'll explain it while you pull that up.
Oh yeah.
Do you have the record for the coin, by the way?
I do. Let me see what it's. Oh, I didn't update it. It was 3-8 through the first 11 games. Picked Army to win the Armed Forces Bowl. That was a win. Picked North Texas to win the Frisco Classic. Did not win. Picked Florida to win the Gasparilla Bowl. They did not win. So the coin right now is 4-10.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we'll flip it. Let's get the coin up here.
Then the games we have today. First one is going to be, or excuse me, tomorrow. There are none today. Tomorrow we have 20 Houston at Auburn. Ticket Smarter Birmingham Bowl. Auburn's favored by 2.
Yeah, and for the coin, the
home team is
heads, road team is tails.
Yep. I thought the home team was tails.
No, I do top to bottom. Heads, tails. So yeah, heads is home, or heads.
Tails is home.
Tails is home. Away is heads. That's right. I was thinking of it backwards until I looked at it. I was like,
because I think we did it backwards last week. To be honest, I thought we actually did it that way last week for the coin.
We might have. Honestly,
week one. I know we did it. Home team was tails. Last week, I think we switched it, and now we're back to the.
Whatever. We make our own rules. It's our own damn podcast. Go make your own podcast if you don't like it.
Yeah. So home team is tails.
So Auburn.
Yep, Auburn would be tails.
All right. What do we got next?
Air Force versus Louisville. 9-3 versus 6-6 Louisville. Louisville favored by 1.5 at the Serve Pro First Responder Bowl.
Air Force.
Then the next game we have Mississippi State at Texas Tech. The AutoZone Liberty Bowl. Mississippi State favored by 10 points.
Mississippi State.
Then the following game here, we have UCLA at NC State in the San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl. NC State favored by 2.
All right. UCLA.
Then the last game on Tuesday, West Virginia Mountaineers 6-6 at Minnesota, 8-4 at the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. Minnesota favored by 5.
In Minnesota.
And then we have one game on Wednesday that we're going to do here because it'll probably be over by the time we do our episode or close. We have Maryland at Virginia Tech in the New Era Pinstripe Bowl. Maryland favored by 3.5.
And Maryland. All right. So long as these games go how they're favored, the coin might do well for this stretch. But also, it's picked favorites and lost. So, again, that's crazy. I would
hope these games happen.
Yeah. Again, I wouldn't expect the coin to do well, but 4-10 is not very good.
You got to figure by the end it'll be about 50-50.
You think so? It's gonna go on a stretch. Like it went on a stretch of losing how many in a row at one point?
A lot.
7 in a row. It picked wrong at one point. So at some point it's gonna pick 5 right, or 6 or 7. And again, this stretch seems like it might it picked all favorites but one. So if the favorites deliver, then it could do well. But
well, yeah. We will be back on Wednesday to update you on that coin record. Also to hit you with the hottest takes around the sports world. Have a great Monday, everyone. We'll see you on Wednesday.